Hi, Don Roley here with a video blog. Most people have heard of Kyojitsu TenkanHo if you're in the Bunjikan, and most of you probably think that it's substituting truth with falsehood. Well, and that's a case of the early guys that brought the art to America. They did their best, but again, Japanese is difficult. Trust me, it's one of the reasons I drink so heavily. The other being my kids. So yeah, I was once at the Ayase, and the guy that jumped forward to do the translation really shouldn't have been doing it, but at one point Soke turned to him and said, in Japanese, the problem is that everyone thinks that Kyojitsu TenkanHo is about fooling people. And you could see the guy basically going tilt, 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 because he couldn't comprehend that. It was like saying, so many people think that the sky is blue. He didn't translate it, but I got it. So I wrote a blog about this, so I'm going to try to put the link either in the description, or if I can't find it by that time, I'll put it in the comment section and pin it to the top. But really, there's greater explanations of, the characters that are used, but really, let's take a look at, first of all, Tenkan really doesn't mean substitute. It's more like rotating between, one goes forward, the other comes back, and more like, they're constantly in motion, going back and forth. It's not a one-type thing, substitution, so to speak. Let's take the word jitsu. People think it's real. Kyojitsu, jitsu, real. But it is real, but not real as in true. That would be shin. It's real as in actual. So the opposite of that, kyo, would be potential. So it's more like going back and forth between what is actual and what is potential. That sounds kind of strange, but let me give you an example. Okay, so if something doesn't work, you don't try to make it work. You always have something else on deck. Let me just explain. A lot of people follow me. They're not native speakers of English. I'm really impressed with their ability to communicate in English, but on deck refers to like an aircraft carrier. An airplane underneath the deck can't launch. An aircraft on the deck can launch immediately. So what do you have on deck when something that you have or doing doesn't go right? That's the thing. So let's put it like this. This is the difference between Kyojitsu TenkanHo and what you might be thinking. Now this is my friend Preston, and I'm going to throw a punch in his face. If he does not block it or get out of the way or something, I'm going to knock his ass across the room. Okay? You know the danger.
My ass has been warned.
Okay, here we go. So, poof. Don't know if we were in the camera angle, but you can kind of see that when I threw the punch, boom, I immediately went in like this, wham. What was happening in terms of Kyojitsu TenkanHo is that this is jitsu. This is an actual technique. It might be a little bit more visible. You might make it a little bit more, here it comes, but if he doesn't move, it's an actual attack, jitsu. As soon as he blocks, boom, his attention is here. He is concentrating on this. I've got other attacks on deck, kyo, that I immediately rotate into and go into this. Now this is jitsu, and I've got other things. Another example might be going back and forth between them. Might be, let's say, a motegyaku. So, motegyaku, boom, up like this. He starts to resist, wham, and then wham. Okay. So, again, what's happening is that this is jitsu. This is an actual attack until the point where he's resisting. I know that his attention is here. He's picked up what my attack is, so I drop it faster than a prom dress at midnight and go into another attack. Now, this is not a case of, oh, I can't do this, so I'm just going to hit him until I'm allowed to do it. What I'm doing right here is, boom, I'm hitting him. And most people, when you punch them in the throat, they tend to have the attention go to the throat and forget this. So from right here, boom, and then there's no intention. His attention is not here, so I'm able to go into it. If I get a case where, I start a motegyaku, whoop, he resists, I hit, and nothing happens in the hand, boom, I've got other options such as coming up like this. What else do I have on deck? So it's not a case of, like you hit them until they go down, or you try to substitute truth and falsehood. It's like you just have a lot of other things on deck. One of my teachers in Japan, my first teacher, said that never put 70% of your intent or anything into a technique. Always have 30% in reserve. That's mainly for a case of if you're doing something and he throws a punch, you can't be 100%, you can't be, You can't be doing a multi-gyakko 100% right here and bah, you know, you can't do that. So 30% has to be ready to deal with anything and then go into another technique. But it's also, that 30% is also from right here again, just a throat punch or something else that you have on deck ready to go if the first thing does not work. And that's just it. It's not so much a case of fooling him, it's a case of he's trying to react to the last attack and not the current attack. You are transferring faster than he can process the information. That's the thing. You know, my last teacher in Japan, you know, Aguri Sensei, kind of said that when someone resists, you know that they're getting ready for, you know that they know what you're doing, and they're getting ready for it. It's like they build a wall. And he said, you don't go through a wall. You go around a wall, you go over a wall, you might dig under a wall, but you don't go through a wall. Well, maybe if you're the USMC. But that's just it. If someone is resisting technique A, then their attention is there, and that's the last thing you want to do is try to do, you know, like, I've got Onikadaki, okay, he's trying to resist Onikadaki, I will do Onikadaki. At that point, you've got to do something else. For training purposes, about the only thing really you can do on your own as you go to a class with an actual instructor is try to keep this 70% maximum attention. Of course, at first when you're trying to learn a technique, you've got all your attention going out there, but as soon as you're slightly familiar with it, start just like, instead of doing the technique like this, do the technique and keep your eyes on him so that anything else happens, so you know. And always think about, you know, well, what else can I hit him with? Can I hit him with this? Can I hit him with this? You know, can I take his arm and throw him? That's the best thing to do when you're training with a real instructor, to try to get this in your mindset. Again, there's more in the blog, which will probably be, you know, the HTTP link will be down here. I hope that I've helped a few people do better in the long run. And if you happen to like the advice and stuff like this, then buy my books.